What if the very reason you're overlooked, disrespected, and taken advantage of is because you're too good? Think about it, the men who constantly say yes, who go out of their way to please everyone, who try to keep the peace no matter what, where do they end up? They're the ones drained of time, owed money that's never returned, and stuck doing favors no one appreciates. That's the curse of the nice guy. These men believe goodness earns them respect, but the harsh truth is, it doesn't. People don't respect kindness, they respect strength. Weakness gives off an unmistakable signal. Manipulators can sense it instantly. When you lack boundaries, when you can't say no, when you avoid confrontation to stay likable, you become a target. The selfish, the users, the emotional leeches all recognize one thing when they see you: easy access. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Power doesn't need to shout or posture. True power is silent precision. It's emotional control, patience, and strategy, staying 3 moves ahead while everyone else reacts to yesterday's chaos. Yet, modern men have been conditioned to believe that vulnerability equals virtue, that endless sacrifice earns love, and that self-erasure is a form of goodness. It's not. In reality, people see unguarded kindness as an opening. They look at your generosity and think, "What can I take?" They see your helpful nature and think, "Perfect someone to unload my problems onto." Human beings are driven by self-interest, and when you give without discernment, you only make yourself a tool in someone else's game. By the end of this message, you'll understand how to project control, master your emotions, and carry an energy that demands respect without ever begging for it. You'll see why being too nice isn't noble, it's dangerous. And once you experience what genuine respect feels like, you'll never want to go back to being everyone's agreeable nice guy again. Now, drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose respect over approval. I refuse to live in weakness. I choose strength, power, and control. First rule, stop being the nice guy. The nice guy is the world's easiest target, society's favorite victim. You've seen him everywhere. He's the one lending money that never returns. The one covering for his irresponsible friends. The one staying late to help while everyone else clocks out early. He believes his kindness makes him good, but in truth, it makes him easy to use. The bitter truth is this: people don't respect nice guys. They exploit them. Weakness radiates like a scent, drawing in opportunists. When you can't say no, when you always put others first, when you fear letting anyone down, you broadcast a message loud and clear: use me. Machiavelli once said that men forget their father's death sooner than the loss of their inheritance, meaning people value their interests far more than your good heart. Be honest with yourself. Do you truly respect the friend who's always available, who never refuses, who drops everything when you call? Or do you respect the one who has his own life, his own priorities, who sometimes says, "Not today"? The truth is, the always available friend fades into the background, reliable but invisible. But the one who chooses to help commands respect because his time has value. People admire those who hold standards. They respect those who protect their energy and know their worth. They never respect doormats. Every time you overextend yourself, always accommodating and self-sacrificing, you silently teach others that you don't value your own worth, and if you don't, why should they? Users, manipulators, and opportunists can spot that energy instantly. They see someone who says yes out of fear, who gives too much, who sacrifices without thought, and they circle like vultures. Once you're labeled as the nice guy, you become everyone's solution to problems that aren't yours. So stop being nice. Start being strategic. Help when it serves a purpose, when it aligns with your values or moves you forward. Say no when it drains you or disrespects your boundaries. Put yourself first, because nobody else will. This isn't selfishness, it's intelligence. Selfish people exploit others. Smart people protect themselves. Strategic individuals protect their energy so they can operate from strength, not exhaustion. When you set standards, draw clear boundaries, and demonstrate that your time and focus have value, people begin to treat you differently. They hesitate before making casual requests. They think twice before asking for favors. They recognize that your choices are intentional, not made out of fear, guilt, or a need for approval. The nice guy gets used. The strategic man gets respected. Nice guys finish last because they teach others to see them as tools convenient, replaceable, and endlessly available. The second rule: develop strategic ruthlessness. Being good is not enough. You must also know when not to be. This is where most men fall short. They associate ruthlessness with cruelty, but in truth, it's about disciplined self-preservation. Strategic ruthlessness isn't about hurting others, it's about protecting your position, your dignity, and your peace. When someone disrespects you, your instinct might be to be patient, to understand, to avoid confrontation. That's exactly what manipulators rely on: your silence. They know you'll tolerate their behavior rather than challenge it. Machiavelli said it best: "A prince must learn how not to be good." He understood that endless kindness is an open invitation to exploitation. Strategic ruthlessness means knowing when to walk away, when to enforce consequences, and when to stop giving chances to people who keep showing you they don't deserve them. If someone borrows money and never repays it, the nice guy stays quiet, hoping for decency. The strategic man treats it as a reflection of character and adjusts accordingly. If someone constantly cancels on you, the nice guy keeps rescheduling. The strategic man stops offering his time to unreliable people. When someone talks down to you or belittles you, the nice guy tries harder to please. The strategic man either confronts it or exits the situation entirely. This isn't vengeance, it's principle. It's understanding that respect requires consequence, and people only treat you as poorly as you allow them to. Most people are accustomed to dealing with nice guys, men who would rather swallow disrespect than create conflict. But when you start showing that you're willing to be firm, even ruthless, in protecting your standards, everything changes. The tone of every interaction shifts. People begin to realize they can't walk over you without consequence. They start to measure their words and actions because they know you won't just smile and tolerate poor treatment. Strategic ruthlessness means making decisions based on what serves your long-term goals, not what keeps everyone else comfortable. Sometimes that means taking opportunities that upset others. Sometimes it means putting your own progress above someone else's expectations. The key is discernment, knowing when and where to apply that edge. You don't need to be harsh with everyone. But when someone repeatedly shows that they don't value or respect you, you must be willing to act with strength. People respect power. They respect boundaries. They respect consequences. When you demonstrate that you'll defend your self-worth without hesitation, you earn a level of respect that niceness alone could never achieve. Strategic ruthlessness isn't cruelty, it's self-respect sharpened into action. The third principle: discipline and emotional control. Your emotions can either be your strongest weapon or your greatest vulnerability. Every time you react impulsively, you surrender control to the other person. Every time you let someone trigger you, you teach them how to manipulate you in the future. Power lies in composure. The one who stays calm while others lose their temper always holds the upper hand. They think clearer, decide smarter, and project quiet dominance even in chaos. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing how you feel. It means mastering how you respond. When someone insults you, your instinct might be to fire back, but the strategic move is to stay silent and let their pettiness speak for itself. When someone pressures you to make a quick decision, your emotions may urge you to agree just to avoid tension, but the strategic response is to say, "I'll think about it," and take your time to decide what's best for you. Machiavelli once said, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." In other words, true strength isn't about reacting, it's about choosing, controlling, and leading with purpose. Your ability to make wise decisions, especially about who you let into your life, depends on how clearly you can think, not how intensely you feel. Emotion-driven people consistently make poor choices. They form friendships based on temporary feelings rather than integrity or loyalty. They chase exciting opportunities without considering the long-term consequences. They create unnecessary enemies because they can't control their tempers. Strategic individuals operate differently. They make calculated choices. They build relationships grounded in mutual respect and benefit. They assess opportunities by how well they align with their long-term vision. They don't fight every battle, only the ones that matter, and they fight those to win. This mindset doesn't make you cold or detached. It makes you dependable and strong. People trust those who stay composed under pressure. They respect those who don't make reckless, emotion-fueled decisions that end up hurting everyone involved. Emotional control also means being free from the constant hunger for approval, validation, or instant gratification. When you can pause before reacting, weigh your options, and choose your response based on what actually serves your goals, not just what feels good in the moment you begin operating from true power. Start small. Practice in everyday moments when someone cuts in line, when you face criticism, or when plans suddenly change. Use those moments to train your restraint. The goal is to become unshakable, someone who can't be manipulated through emotion, who stays calm when others panic, who thinks before acting and acts with precision. Emotional control is the cornerstone of personal power. When you master your reactions, you master your outcomes and the way others respond to you. Now comes the fourth principle: build and control your image. People don't judge you by your intentions, they judge you by what they can see. This is one of Machiavelli's greatest lessons. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Your reputation, your appearance, your presence, these shape how the world treats you far more than your private thoughts or inner goodness ever will. Most men leave their image to chance, believing that being good on the inside will automatically earn recognition. But that's not how human psychology works. People don't see your intentions, they see your presentation. And in a world built on perception, control over your image is control over your power. People form opinions about you within moments of meeting you. They evaluate you by how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you handle pressure, and once that impression is made, it's incredibly difficult to change. If you project the image of someone who can be pushed around, who constantly accommodates others, who avoids standing up for himself, That's exactly how people will treat you, no matter how capable or intelligent you truly are. The key is to build your image intentionally. Decide how you want to be perceived. Then make sure your behavior reflects that vision. If you want to be seen as someone who commands respect, stop over-explaining your actions. Stop apologizing for things that don't deserve apologies. Move and speak with quiet confidence. If you want to be seen as valuable, stop being endlessly available. Be selective about where you spend your time and energy. If you want to be seen as strong, stop running from conflict. When someone crosses your boundaries, address it directly and calmly. Your image is shaped in small, everyday moments. It's in how you respond when interrupted, whether you speak with authority or constantly seek validation, how you dress, how you stand, and how you hold eye contact. People notice everything, even when you think they're not paying attention. They notice if you laugh at jokes at your own expense, if you back down when challenged, if you keep your word or make excuses. Each interaction either strengthens the image you want or reinforces one you don't. There is no neutral ground. You're always building or breaking your reputation. Remember this: perception often becomes reality. If people perceive you as weak, they'll treat you that way. You'll start to feel weak, act weak, and the cycle will repeat. But when you consciously craft an image of confidence, strength, and self-respect, others will respond to you differently, and their respect will, in turn, reinforce your own belief in yourself. Never leave your image to chance. Don't assume that people will recognize your true worth simply because you're good-hearted or well-intentioned. The world judges what it sees, so make sure what it sees reflects your power. Take control of how people perceive you by being deliberate about the signals you send. If you don't consciously shape your image, others will do it for you, and their version might not reflect the truth or the strength you want to project. In social dynamics, perception is reality. Either you build your image with intention, or you let others define it for you. Fifth principle: use silence as a weapon. In a world obsessed with noise, where everyone feels compelled to explain, justify, and defend themselves, silence becomes a rare and powerful form of control. Most nice guys can't handle silence. They rush to fill it, to clarify, to seek understanding or approval. But the more you explain yourself, the weaker you appear. Over-explaining sends the message that you need permission to have boundaries. Talking too much exposes uncertainty and discomfort. Strategic silence operates on several levels. 1. It makes you appear calm, thoughtful, and deliberate. When you pause before responding, it signals intelligence and self-control. People see that you think before you act, which builds authority. 2. It draws out information. Most people can't handle silence. They'll keep talking to fill the space, often revealing more than they intended. 3. It's a powerful response to disrespect. When someone crosses a line or tries to manipulate you, silence can speak louder than confrontation. A calm, steady look without a single word can make them confront their own behavior far more effectively than an argument ever could. Machiavelli once said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." The lesson: timing and restraint are forms of strategy. Not every thought needs to be shared immediately. Sometimes, silence protects your power until the right moment to act or speak. When someone makes an unreasonable request, don't rush to justify why you can't comply. Simply say, "I'll think about it," and remain silent. Let the weight of your pause shift the pressure onto them to explain themselves. When someone pushes for a fast decision, say, "Let me consider this," and then stop talking. That silence shows you're not impulsive, you make choices on your own terms. And when someone criticizes you unfairly, resist the urge to react. Let the silence hang. Often, they'll backtrack, realizing how baseless their words sound when not met with defense. Silence also breeds mystery, and mystery creates magnetism. People are naturally drawn to what they can't fully read or predict. When you master silence, you stop chasing validation and start commanding attention without saying a word. When you're not constantly voicing every thought, opinion, or reaction, people naturally become more curious about what's going on in your mind. This doesn't mean being distant or refusing to engage. It means speaking with purpose. It's about choosing when to talk and when to stay silent, so that when you do speak, your words carry weight. Learn to be comfortable with pauses in conversation. Don't rush to fill the silence or respond instantly to every question. Take your time, let the pause work in your favor. When you finally speak, people will listen more intently because they know you don't waste words. Your voice will hold authority because it's not overused. Silence creates presence, intrigue, and power. Use it deliberately to make your words impossible to ignore. Sixth principle: be useful, but never harmless. There's a powerful difference between being useful and being harmless, and understanding it separates men who are respected from those who are used. Useful people bring value. They solve problems, offer solutions, and make things better. Harmless people, on the other hand, avoid conflict, never challenge anything, and go along with whatever maintains peace. People respect those who are useful because they contribute strength and skill, but they exploit the harmless because they know there will be no resistance, no consequences, no boundaries. Machiavelli once wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves." The message is clear. Be clever enough to spot manipulation and strong enough to confront it. Being useful means possessing knowledge, skills, and influence that others genuinely value. It makes people seek your presence, not your compliance. Being harmless means staying quiet when you should speak, tolerating disrespect to avoid tension, and keeping the peace at the cost of your own self-respect. The harmless man believes he's being good by never creating waves, but in reality, he's only making himself invisible and expendable. But what they're really doing is allowing bad behavior to grow, and in the process, making life harder for everyone, including themselves. When you witness unfair treatment and stay silent because you don't want to get involved, that isn't goodness, it's harmlessness. When someone repeatedly takes advantage of your kindness and you never confront it because you fear conflict, that's not compassion, it's weakness disguised as peace. When you watch someone make damaging choices and keep quiet so you won't seem negative, you're not being supportive, you're being silent in the face of harm. People don't respect the harmless because when the moment comes to take a stand, they vanish behind excuses. Harmless individuals are easy to like, but impossible to rely on. Useful individuals, however, they step forward. They face discomfort when truth or integrity demands it. They don't seek conflict, but they don't run from it either. Being useful means having the courage to be the bad guy when the situation calls for one. It means being willing to say the hard thing, to draw the hard line, to make the hard choice. Sometimes being useful means initiating uncomfortable conversations. Sometimes it means setting firm boundaries that others won't like. Sometimes it means choosing the right side instead of trying to please both. People trust useful individuals with real responsibility because they've proven they can handle discomfort without falling apart. Harmless people, on the other hand, are never trusted with anything important because when things get tough, they crumble. Be the person others can rely on when things are uncertain, messy, or hard. The world respects those who act, not those who hide behind niceness. Useful people are valued, respected, and remembered. Harmless people are ignored, forgotten, and used. Choose to be useful. Number 7. Stay unpredictable. Predictable people are easy to control. Unpredictable people are impossible to manipulate. When others can guess exactly how you'll react to pressure, guilt, or praise, they can bend those reactions to serve their interests. They know guilt will make you fold. They know flattery will make you agree. They know anger will make you overreact. Predictability makes you a puppet. Unpredictability makes you powerful. Machiavelli once said, "Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times." The world shifts, people evolve, and circumstances demand adaptation. Strength lies not in rigid consistency, but in strategic flexibility, the ability to adjust your responses to fit the reality of the moment. This doesn't mean being impulsive or unreliable. It means being intentionally unpredictable. You act with awareness, not habit. When someone makes a request, your answer shouldn't always be the same. Sometimes you agree right away. Sometimes you say you'll think about it. Sometimes you decline without apology. That uncertainty forces people to approach you with respect, not assumption. When someone tries to pressure you, there's no fixed playbook. Sometimes you hold your ground immediately. Sometimes you disengage without explanation. Sometimes you flip the pressure back by calmly asking, "Why the rush?" When someone expresses disappointment in you, you decide what it deserves. Sometimes you address it directly if it's fair. Sometimes you ignore it if it's manipulation. Sometimes you remind them that their disappointment is not your burden to carry. This kind of unpredictability serves several vital purposes. 1. It prevents entitlement. People stop assuming they know your response. Every interaction must earn its outcome. 2. It forces genuine engagement. When others can't read you, they must treat you as a real person, not a predictable pattern. 3. It gives weight to your approval. When your yes isn't automatic, it becomes valuable. When your presence isn't guaranteed, it becomes meaningful. 4. It frees you from self-sabotaging routines. Maybe you once said yes to everything. Now, your answer depends on what truly serves your purpose, not on what others expect. Adaptation is power. Predictability is control handed over. Be steady in your principles, but flexible in your conduct. Let people respect your choices because they can never take them for granted.